Will Zenless Zone Zero down the line end up being Hoyo's best game? This is a question I've been thinking to myself for quite a bit. See, at face value, it could be perceived as a very shallow take to think about and give an answer to, but when you really look at it on a deeper level, it's a pretty hard question to break down. There are so many different areas of discussion you can take, while also remembering all of these games have their own niche, as well as remaining unbiased as my content does revolve solely around ZZZ. It can be quite difficult giving a solid definitive answer. So in this video, we'll look at Hoyo's most relevant games, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, and Zenless Zone Zero, and really break down if ZZZ has the potential to be Hoyo's best game. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say thank you all for your continuous support, as we are slowly approaching 1K subs at the time of the recording, with only about 1 month of making ZZZ content under my belt. I can't really thank y'all enough. It's kind of crazy to see my passion for content creating slowly come into fruition. But for those of you that are new here and enjoy ZZZ discussion-based videos, please consider subbing up. If we could set up a 5 sub goal for this video, it would be greatly appreciated. But that's enough yap. Let's get into this. So just a couple things here. For one, shout out to EO. If it wasn't for one of his tweets, I probably wouldn't have been making this video right now. Second, at the end of the day, this is just my opinion. If you don't agree with my takes, let me know why in the comment section down below. And lastly, yes, I have played all 3 games and played them extensively. So, do I think Zenless Zone Zero is shaping up to be Hoyo's best game? Short answer is yes, but honestly, I don't know. It's a weird thing. If Zenless Zone Zero ends up continuing the way it's going with the devs listening to their community and delivering on things that just needs to be adjusted, as well as continuing to provide us with good content the way they have been, I think 110% Zenless Zone Zero will be Hoyo's best game out. But technically, it won't be money-wise. See, it all depends on how you're looking at quote-unquote best game, as it can be interpreted in many different ways. As we all know, HSR is undeniably a way better game than Genshin Impact, but guess who brings the big money to the table at the end of the month? Genshin does. And that's the thing with ZZZ. Now, I'm gonna take you on a bit of a ride here, so stay with me. See, if we look at the game story-wise holistically and compare it to both HSR and Genshin Impact, it has the potential to have a really good story, but I wouldn't put it ahead of HSR and Genshin right now due to only being fresh out the womb. We kinda gotta let them cook for a bit. But if we're talking about storytelling, I'd 100% say ZZZ blows them both out of the water. The way they are able to tell their story without having to bloat the dialogue is amazing. Genshin is notorious for bloating 2 minutes of dialogue to 10 minutes, and HSR recently started doing this with their most recent expansion of Penacony. The way ZZZ is able to make the player get invested into the characters is also top tier. I remember in the beginning of the game when I despised some characters because of their initial design, but after doing their faction quests, they did such a good job at bringing the characters to life that it made me change my whole opinion on them. See, I never felt that way with either Genshin nor HSR. Also, ZZZ has what feels like 3 times more cutscenes in the story than Genshin and HSR. And this also feeds into the bringing the characters to life. I don't know what it is. I'll always enjoy having that cinematic experience while going through the story, rather than 2 pile cones sitting on screen barely moving and their lips aren't even in sync. But nonetheless, I think y'all get the gist of it. I think ZZZ's story has the potential to be a better overall story than HSR and Genshin's. As their storytelling is already top tier, they just need more overall story time to actually start being comp for the other 2 games. Now, combat wise, I already think ZZZ is the best out of the other 2 games. But honestly, at the end of the day, it all comes down to preference. This topic of discussion is always going to be subjective. One game has open world combat, one game is turn-based, and the other is arena combat. It really all depends on what niche you enjoy. If we're talking about art style with the whole overall game, I think ZZZ is the best out of the 3. The art style with the characters and the world is absolutely beautiful. I don't know what Hoyo was giving their devs, but they cooked insanely with ZZZ's art style. Now, out of the 3, I won't even talk about Genshin's Endgame because it's non-existent. I think ZZZ has the potential to have a better endgame than HSR, but due to HSR being out for longer and having more optional endgame modes, clearly HSR takes the cake. But also this feeds into the narrative that if ZZZ continues to keep growing through time, I have no doubt that they will keep implementing more endgame modes to appease the audience. Now, there's a million more avenues we could talk about comparing the 3 games. I think those were some of the major points. I don't necessarily want to go down every little point comparing all 3 games, but we tend to see a pattern of ZZZ either being already better in certain areas compared to the other two, or if we're seeing it being better through time as the game is still fairly new. I think ZZZ has and will end up being Hoyo's best game, but to the point I wanted to get at is, it'll be Hoyo's best game that not a lot of people will play. I think that no matter how much ZZZ devs cook, it'll never be as popular to the extent of Genshin, and I think at max it could have about 75% of HSR's audience. The damage that was done during the launch of ZZZ, I think, isn't fixable 100%. The audience they lost, a good chunk of them will never get back to the game. A lot of those people that left will never hear about the good things ZZZ has implemented to make it better. And even the ones that did hear about it, how likely is it for them to pick it back up? Now, to kind of tie everything all together here is that if ZZZ will be Hoyo's best game that not a lot of people play, is it really Hoyo's best game? If ZZZ has a smaller size audience and is constantly coming in second or third in the revenue chart each month, can it be considered Hoyo's best game? It really all depends on what you consider as best game, hence why I kind of said it's a tricky question. If we're looking at best game as what makes the most money, either HSR or Genshin will take the cake on that, because I don't think consistently ZZZ will generate that much revenue over the other two games, unless it's characters like Miyabi that come out that have a lot of hype behind them. But if you're looking at which game is fundamentally better in the handful of different facets, then I think ZZZ will be Hoyo's best game. But realistically, all this doesn't matter to the average player. As long as you enjoy the game and having fun, and the devs are still pumping out good content patch after patch, who cares if someone like me on the internet is wondering if ZZZ will be the best out of the Hoyo games? I find it fun just looking at it holistically from all three of their games. It's pretty cool because each game posed a different chapter of my life. Genshin was my COVID college arc, HSR was my recently graduated beginning my 9-to-5 grind, and ZZZ is my content creation arc as a side hobby hoping it will become something bigger. But I'm gonna be real here. Let's keep hoping ZZZ stays in the backseat, because for some reason, when Hoyo games aren't in the best spot, that's when we'll see the quality content being pushed out. But if the game is doing really well, we will constantly see the crappy updates. I don't know, it's a weird thing with Hoyo. Like, let's be real here. You think Genshin devs was really going to give everyone a free 5-star if the game was still doing well? Hell nah. Y'all wouldn't be sniffing a free 5-star if it wasn't the end of the world. But real shit, if you're here at this point, give yourself a pat on the back, because I've just been straight yapping at this point. As always though, I really do want to hear your opinion on my take here, talking about will ZZZ be Hoyo's best game down the line. I'm always curious to see the opinion of you folks, as I know damn well my opinion isn't always the greatest. If you like this video and enjoy ZZZ discussion based videos and isn't subbed yet, make sure to hit that sub button and turn the notification bell on to make sure you don't miss out on any one of these discussion based videos. If you enjoyed this video, I'm more than positive you'll enjoy either one of these on screen. On the left, we yap about why I think ZZZ has the best community out of the top dogs in the gacha space, and on the right, we yap about why I greatly appreciate Zenless Zone Zero. Just wanted to say thank you all again for all of your continuous support. You all motivate me to keep pushing out these kind of videos. I hope you all take care, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace, peace.